All right. Hi, everyone. I'm sorry this is late. I actually did do it yesterday, guys. I did it on WeVideo and it took 13 minutes and apparently that was too long and it wouldn't let me upload the video. And anyway, it's a mess. Anyway, we're doing take two now. So I'm going to do from lines 550, starting with the hawk. Ooh, what is going on with this? Okay. To the end some down here. It's a little bit longer than usual, but you do have a quiz coming up and I do want to sort of give you a larger chunk. So hopefully you guys can last with me through this. We're gonna go through the markups, and I know that I gave you the markups already, but that's okay. We're gonna do it again. I'm a firm believer that repetition is important to learning. So you guys know that I always suggest starting with the verbs, right? And with verbs, you're still looking for those T's and NTs. That hasn't changed since Latin 1. So if you go through the lines and you're looking for T's and NTs, the first one you're going to come across is traxit. And then you're going to have a toolet. Then you have updated. And then you have, actually, that's the last one for those lines. Okay, so you got three verbs. Actually, did we do this? I feel like we may have done this together in class. I can't even remember. Did we do this together in class? All right, doesn't matter. We're going to do it again now. All right, once you've done that, I do not know why this thing is causing such, can I get it to stop? Let's see if that gets it to stop. Okay. Start with the prepositional phrases. All right, so start at the beginning and look at prepositional phrases. And the first thing we see here is the odd. And I feel like we did this last video, but let me just remind you guys that little prepositions here, they're a form of part of speech, and they are going to pattern with either the accusative or the ablative, and they do it every time. It is always one or the other. It is accusative or ablative. And 99% of the time, it is always the one. So if you can remember that odd patterns with the accusative, and it will always pattern with the accusative, it's going to do you a lot of good because you're going to go, wait, odd has to pattern with the accusative, but ipsa ends in A. That might ring a bell. When does a short A become an accusative? You guys remember? That's the neuter plural, right? And if that doesn't ring any bells, like you just forget what odd is, you can always go back to the standard, let's scan the line, and you're going to see that ipsa is a short A. You're going to see that this here is long, short, short. It's a very short little dactyl right there. And that probably together is going to be, it's like, well, odd plus a short A is going to be accusative. If you have not remembered that, I would suggest very strongly that you start to remember that. I've also gone back here to the altera, because as we've seen before, Vergil loves to split his prepositional phrases, and he likes to stick the preposition in between the noun, and in this case, the demonstrative pronoun. But it could also be an adjective. It could be anything. But I wouldn't see ad ipsa typically by itself in this case. I would look for other words around it that it would go with, just because more than likely there's something else going on there. All right, so go to the next line. What do we see? We see in multo. Okay. Now, before, I think I've told you guys, words that end in I, O, and U are always long. So it's in multo. I just told you that prepositions go with either ablatives or accusatives. So if this is a long O, then this is going with the ablative, and you don't have any options there. It's just that. Now, molto, hopefully you guys also recognize that as an adjective, because we just saw that in the previous lines too, where, what's his name? Pleiades was, pouring out his life with much blood. And I believe he used molto for that too. I'll have to go back and look, but I think it was molto. So hopefully you guys know that's an adjective, which means that in isn't going with just molto. We are in fact going with yet another split prepositional phrase. Like I said, Vergil likes to do this. Most poets do. The next word here is lepsantem. It ends in em. Em is not an ablative. It's going to be an accusative. So we can underline that. And this also goes back to remembering your endings like in a row. Remember, am and em are like accusative singular. They are almost like givens, just like as and os are 9 times out of 10 accusative plurals. There's always a wackadoodle third out there that could mess you up, but typically, if you're betting on it, go with this. UM can be difficult because UM can, of course, be nominative. Whoops. nominative or accusative singular because it's neuter. All right. But these endings are pretty safe. So when you see the EM there, you should be thinking, oh, okay, that's probably accusative. I'm just going to go ahead and underline it. But look at sanguine. You see the E there? If it ends in E, and you can scan the line, right? You can scan the line, go like this. Okay, so it's going to be short E. When you see short E, oh, that would be back with our ablative endings, right? Long A, long O, short E. All right, those are your ablative singular endings that you're going to see more often. There's the long U and other things, but mostly these are the ones you're going to see. And that's a short E. And sanguine, you guys know, means blood. And that's going to go with molto. And again, I think that's a replay of what he had just done on the previous line. Of course, I don't see the previous line. I don't have it in front of me. I'm looking for it. I'll find it in a second. Okay. That's right. There's some trash talk between Priam and Pyrrhus here that we have to go through. Okay, but you guys can read that. It's going to be fun. All right, let's see if I can get this to sharpen up a little bit. All right. Oh, I missed a verb. Some of you are probably yelling at me like I missed the verb. I just didn't even see it with the quay. Implicit quay. This goes to show that even if you've done this 1,000 times, you can still, find new things. You're going to hear my son sniggering in the background. Okay, let's keep going. All right, we have an AM here. And if you remember AM over here, accusative singular. So that's going to be an underline. Okay, we have that accusative singular. Why is this not focusing? It's really making me crazy. There we go. That's a little better. What I find interesting here is you have a lawa and a dextra. Lawa meaning left hand, dextra meaning right, and then corsicum here. When you have this sort of like AM, short A, UM, I get suspicious. That to me looks like some kind of a word picture. Okay. And I would bet I'd also need to scan that because I just called that a short A. And actually, I think I'm wrong here. Let's go through this. Yeah, it's a long A. It's an ablative. See, you know what you get when you make assumptions, right? Yeah, they're both long A's. Okay. So when you, again, that's where scanning comes in handy. Look at this, see the long A, see the long A, know that they're ablatives. When you have a long A, it's an ablative. Like there really isn't anything else it's going to be. I suppose there are some random potential thirds out there, but for the most part, it's going to be ablative. I kind of ran ahead of things here a little bit. I need to go back up. Look at this trementum. Trementum looks like lepsentum. You see the EM and the EM? Look at that right there. The EM is going to be accusative. And then decans here with the NS, that should be familiar to you guys as well. Okay, as a nominative ending. Okay. You see NS a lot, remember in present participles. Amans, amantis, amantia, amantem, amante. So if you don't remember that, it's a good time to brush up on that. Okay. Now, hawk here. Let's see, guys, remember this? Hick, hike, hoke. I pronounce it hoke. Some people pronounce it hawk. I'm not a dead Roman. I'll go with either. It's neuter. Remember, it always goes masculine, feminine, neuter. Anytime you see a chart, it's masculine, feminine, neuter. Because it's neuter. And remember, we always give you the nominative form first. So if you remember ipse ipsop sum, is id, qui quod quod, those are all in the nominative. Okay, they're all nominative singulars. Those are the forms you know. And if you remember the neuter rule that nominatives and accusatives have to be the same, then you'll know that hawk, it can be nominative or accusative. Here, we have a decans already. That's your nominative. Decans can be a participle, so it can be an adjective. But typically when you see this kind of combination, what it means is saying these things. Okay, it's very common way for the Romans to sort of end a phrase. Like you can see the little whatever quote mark here is telling us that someone had finished talking. Well, the Romans didn't have that. So how do they know that someone had just finished talking? Well, decans, it's like dixit. There's fator, fatus. There's a bunch of different words that signal the end of a little speech bubble sort of thing. So Deacon's hawk is just another way for them to say, and he's done speaking, and now he's gonna go kill some more people. Okay. All right, so that takes us through these lines. Oh, we didn't do naughty. Let's do naughty. Naughty is a long I. Okay, we've seen this before. We just saw Naturum. We've seen it a couple of times. It means children. Sons, those ones born from you. It's a long I. And if you remember, just above this, we had Naturum, excuse me, meaning of the children, which was plural. That tells us that this is second. Declension. Oh my gosh, I just don't know what I did there. It's a genitive. I made it a green triangle. I don't know why I made it a green triangle, guys. I'm doing too many things at once. It's supposed to be a green squiggle. Just pretend it's a green squiggle. All right. All right, so that takes us, that's a genitive singular, mea culpa. And now we've got these guys down here. Okay, look at this. Ensum ends in em again. Okay, em is going to be accusative singular. So go ahead and underline it. Copulo. Whoa. There we go. Copulo. Oh. Okay. I don't know what's going on with this camera. This is my at-home camera. It seems to be having more trouble focusing. Copulo, long O. Remember the rule. So long O can be dative or ablative plural, or dative or ablative singular, right? There's no preposition in front of it. So that doesn't tell us anything. So we have to ask ourselves, what does this thing mean? If it's a person, it's dative. If it's a thing, it's an ablative. Well, copulo means hair. Hair. Oh, I'm sorry, not hair. Hilt. It means hilt, like sword hilt. So because it means sword hilt, it's a thing. That's going to be ablative. All right. Lateri is a tricky one, and it actually is a dative. Okay. It's a dative. And then tenuous is kind of a false friend here because it looks like it should be, nominative singular with this US. The problem, of course, with that is that we do have a subject already. It could potentially be an adjective, but, putting it down here, I would always just look it up to be sure. You look it up and you notice that this is in fact an adverb, not an adjective, and therefore we don't mark it up. Okay. It must be my hand. Is my hand the thing that's causing these problems? I need like a focus lock on this thing. Oh, is that it? Maybe that's what this is. Could be. Okay. So there we go. That was the markup for these lines. All right. I'm going to stop the recording now, and then I'm going to jump back in and I'm going to do the translation in a second.